This is the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast, episode number 18.
John, we need to talk. I need more space.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. My name is John Melly, and this is the podcast dedicated to teaching in-depth and advanced marketing strategies for people in the voiceover and audio production professions. My goal is to help you make more money by showing you ways to leverage your time, charge more for your talents, and allow you to spend more time doing the things you want to do in your life. Hey there, it's John. Welcome to this episode. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I do appreciate it. As of this recording, the number of downloads for the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast it's gone way past 10,000 now. It's 10,469 downloads. And I just want to thank you very much for spreading the word and sharing all the great comments you have with me about the last few episodes. Also want to invite you to join the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast group on Facebook. A quick shout out to some new members of the group. I'd like to say hello to Todd R. Wilson, Mary Suits Moore, Sean O'Shea, Eric Edling, and Nehad Salah Mati. I hope I got your name correct. Thank you all for joining the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast group on Facebook, and feel free to share the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast Facebook group with your friends and colleagues in the voiceover and audio production professions. I much appreciate that. So before we dive into today's topic, and this is all going to be about tactics today, one of the things people asked in this or mentioned in the survey was they want more marketing tactics. Well, this is full bore marketing tactics, and you're going to want a notepad, and you're going to want to be taking notes and thinking about some things. I guarantee I'll get your mind spinning with this one. But before we dive in, I have to ask this question. I don't know if you're experiencing it in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, but what's with people walking behind cars that are backing out of spaces in a parking lot? And it's not like it's a surprise. It's the car is backing out of its spot to leave the parking lot, and people are just walking right behind it. And I'm not talking 10, 15 feet away. I'm talking 2, 3, 4 feet away from the car. They see the cars moving, and yet they keep walking behind it anyway. Are they not paying attention? They just don't care? I don't get it. My mom and dad taught me to watch out for moving cars in parking lots. Did they miss that lesson? I don't know. End of rant. Okay, so let's get right down to the business at hand. And to quote my history teacher from high school, okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, take out your notepads and something to write with, a pen, pencil, crayon, bloody fingers, something to take notes with, because we've got tactics here. And while I haven't done this exact mailing, the particular details of this mailing, I have done things very similar to this. And the principles that I'm going to outline to you apply to all marketing pieces. And so if you're listening in the car, you're going to want to listen to this again with a notepad and a pen. I need you to write down this acronym. It's AIDA. A-I-D-A. AIDA. And that stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And we're calling this the paper plate mailing. And I have a picture for you to just go and look at really quickly on the show notes for this episode, episode 18. We're going to go through all of those principles, attention, interest, desire, and action, through this mailing that I'm going to outline for you. But first, how did it come about? Well, I was on the phone with one of my marketing coaching clients, and we were brainstorming ideas on getting her more voiceover work. And we were batting around, what is it that she wants to do? She does a lot of audiobook narration, but she's got a radio background. And we finally narrowed it down that she wants to do more agency stuff. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get a list of ad agencies within a certain geographic area. Now, you may or may not already have that. If you don't, get one. If you do, make sure it's a good list. And what I mean by it's a good list is you want to make sure that the contact information, the person you're going to be sending this to, is the person who is accepting voiceover demos or is in a position to decide and cast talent. So the first thing we need to do is we need to attract attention. How are we going to do that? We're going to mail something different than just a CD with a cover letter or send an email asking if you can email an MP3. We want to send something with dimension, not just an envelope or an envelope, but something that's going to, it's going to get onto the top of the pile of the mail. It's going to stand out from everything else. Now, before we dive into the contents of what goes in the envelope, it's very important to talk about what goes on the outside of the envelope, because that's the first presentation. Get a padded mailer. If you can get something in bright colors, even better. But the other thing is you want to hand address the outside of the package. No labels. If you want to hand write on a label, that's okay. But we don't want this thing being spit out of a computer printer. We want it either written directly on a padded mailer, or if you want to put a label on the padded mailer, hand write on the label the address. You put your return address on there too. Hand write it. No labels. Write something that gets their attention on the outside of the envelope. Put something like "do not bend" on the outside of the package in like a red Sharpie, a red marker or something. Now, here's another thing that's really important. Get stamps and put them on by hand. Multiple stamps if necessary. Don't get a metered stamp. What we want to do is we want to make this package look as hand done as possible. So if the postage costs $2.53 to mail, then get 2 $1 stamps and then a first-class stamp and then a handful of 1-cent stamps and put them all across the top of the thing. And don't put them all straight in a row. Kind of put them on a little cockeyed. Not like you've been drinking all night, but, just a little bit off-center. Just all of this is to attract attention. Well, that's the first principle. Get their attention. We get their attention right from the get-go. How does the outside of this package look? Well, first of all, it's not just any old envelope. It's got some lumps to it. It's got some depth and dimension. It looks like it's hand done. It looks like it's kind of exciting. What's this all about? If they don't open it, it's all for naught. So the first step is to get them to open the thing. So I've got their attention. Now, what you do is you put a paper plate inside it and a plastic fork. What you can do with the paper plate is you can put your voiceover contact information on the face of the plate. Look at the show notes for episode 18 at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com. I've handwritten right where you should put all your contact information, where they can listen to your demos, how they can get in touch with you, all that stuff. You put it right there in the center of the plate. Plastic fork. If you want to add a nice touch and put a napkin in there too, that's cool. You're like, John, why are we mailing paper plates to these people? I'm going to get to that. We're going to write a letter, and we're going to solve a problem for the folks at the ad agency. They work hard, and they work with a lot of clients and a lot of crazy deadlines. What's their problem? We want to solve a problem for them. You're not solving their problem for, I'm your voiceover talent. Now they got a bunch of people. What's another problem? They can't get out for lunch. So in the letter, you write something like, Dear, name of specific contact. Don't write a letter to whom it may concern or to marketing manager. Don't do that. Dear Jane Doe. You're probably wondering why I've enclosed a paper plate, a fork, and a napkin in this envelope. Well, I'm a local voiceover talent, and my experience has shown me that you folks in the ad agency world are really busy and have a hard time getting out for lunch. I thought I'd help you out by putting together a handy guide of restaurants very close to your office and their menus so you can choose what you'd like to have for lunch. I've only selected one of each type of cuisine to give you a variety to choose from. I've also included a CD of my most recent demo, so when you're looking for a little variety in your voice talent pool, you might give mine a listen and consider me for your next project. I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Bon appetit! Sincerely, blah, blah, blah. Now, you might be thinking, John, that's going to cost some money. Yep. It's going to cost you some time, too. But it's totally worth doing this. And I'm going to share something that you're going to really like in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. You've gotten their attention. I think you'll have interested them. People are bored. They want to be entertained. Another CD and a cover letter isn't going to cut through. You've entertained them. You've said, hey, here's a paper plate. You've put some fun stuff in there. People love food. They love to eat. They need to eat. So they're going to associate you with something positive. That's the desire. If you're really pressed for cash, but you have some time, how would you like to hear about a way that this will pay for itself? This will take a little bit of time, a little bit of chutzpah, but what you can do is you can create a booklet and charge the restaurants an advertising fee to be in your exclusive resource. Think about it. Let's just say $20 gets them in. Now, a pizza place, that's a couple of pizzas. It's almost a no-brainer for them. You let the owners of these restaurants know that you're only letting one of each type of restaurant in their guide. So one pizza place, one Mexican place, one Chinese food place, one bistro, one coffee shop, all that kind of stuff. Just pick one of each. And if they say no, you tell them you're going to go to their competition. You tell them there's only going to be one of each. And if you're the first person in, then nobody else gets in. But if you say no, then I'm going to go to your competition. Takes a little guts, but it'll get them in. Now, you can put a code on there, a redemption code, so that the restaurant owners can track and say, okay, ABC Ad Agency actually used this ad to call up and place the order. You can even put instructions in there saying, use promo code VO coupon when placing your order. That allows them to track it. So, if you get 10 restaurants in and you charge them each $20, then there's $200 to play with for your postage and materials. If you get 20 restaurants, well, then it's $400. You know, you just do the math from there. You keep going and going. Now, you can put together a guide that has all their menus and their contact information, but it has all your voiceover contact information on the cover of the guide and on the footer of each page. Give them something tangible. That way, you're always front and center whenever they're ordering lunch from this guide. You want to take it a step further? You could do regular updates to pay for your mailings on a regular basis. You could put these restaurants on a subscription. Each month, hit their credit card once a month, and mail monthly updates of these guides along with your demo and information to stay in front of all these ad agency people each and every month. And you're getting money to help pay for it all. Action. That's the last part on this thing. We've got attention, interest, desire. Now it's action. There are two forms of action on this, the whole deal. They either order from the menus, and they think of you each and every time that they do that, and they're going to order from your voiceover services too. AIDA. Attention, interest, desire, action. Try it. Let me know how it works for you. That's all we have for this episode. If you have comments, questions about what you've heard in this episode or other episodes, I'd love to hear from you. There are 3 ways that you can do that. You can go to voiceovermarketingpodcast.com and post a comment directly at the bottom of the show notes for this episode. Or on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see an orange button that says leave us a message. Click on that button. Use the microphone in either your smartphone or attached to your computer to leave me a voice message directly. It's totally free. I would love to hear from you, and we'll put you in the show if you send me a voice message using that tool. Finally, you can go to the Voiceover Marketing Podcast group on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. That's it for this episode. It's a quick one, but it's got a lot of great information there. Listen to it again. Take some notes. Tell me how it works for you. I'll talk to you next week. I hope you have a great one. Well, that's it for this episode of the Voiceover Marketing Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe to it at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com so you'll get notices of new episodes. And please share it with your friends and colleagues in the voiceover world. Also, it would be a huge help if you'd like this podcast and rate it on iTunes to help keep it near the top of the list. Feel free to share your comments and questions about this episode and future topics you'd like discussed at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com. And if you'd like more information on one-on-one coaching with me and mastermind group opportunities where we focus on growing your business, feel free to drop me a line at my cyber assistant's email address at mike@johnmelly.com. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and share your voice with the world.